Welcome to another episode of Talking to Myself, where I talk to myself about topics that excite me. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about you being a biological robot. What does this mean and why is this important? The way I see it, the majority of us in society, we are literally like robots. Obviously, because we are formed of biological cells, and we're made up of biology. We're basically biological robots instead of mechanical robots. So what does a robot do? When you think of a robot is almost on autopilot. Doesn't have a mind of its own, really. It's just programmed to do what you tell it to do. For example, a robot in a manufacturer that's manufacturing cars. It puts parts of the cars on, and that's it. Just on repeat. Puts the car on, for example, puts the car door on, next car door on, next car door on. It's like what are those called? Not an elevator, escalator type thing, just on repeat, round and round and round. The same thing day in, day out. And ultimately that's what most people are like on their day-to-day lives. They wake up, go to work, sit at a desk, type. I don't know, go back home, have a drink of beer or eat some food, get up, do the same thing again. And you might think, well, this is how I make a living, this is how I live my life, I have to get into a routine, it's all well and good. But the way I see it, this is actually going against what humans are meant to be on Earth to do. We are meant to be here to create, to be human beings, not human doings. But unfortunately, this has become difficult, and the way society has structured it, we see it as normal to go to work, do a 9 to 5, 4 or 5 days a week, and get into this pattern. Meanwhile, a lot of the people that run these companies, or a lot of people nowadays as well, at the top higher levels, often just delegate the work, and they're chilling, whilst the people lower down are the ones doing the robotic, mundane lifestyle. And the reason why I'm actually talking about this, because why it's an issue, it's all well and good you get into the routine. However, the more you just do this stuff on autopilot without questioning things, without doing new things, getting into the unknown, trying something new, breaking out of this pattern, you, like I said, you become on autopilot to the point where you can't even think for yourself. And this is a big issue because you can be easily manipulated, you won't know what's legit and what's not, and ultimately there could be people in power that abuse this, and you're living in a society where you're just going by what has been said without questioning, on repeat. This is not a society which is ideal to live in. We are meant to be here to create. What do I mean by create? It doesn't just mean let's just do some painting and we're creative. I know, I'm aware there's a stigma around this sort of stuff. There's a stigma now when it comes to that stuff, like art, drama. They're like, oh, that's not a proper job. That's you can't make money from that. And society's back to front because of this. We are taught that this stuff, the creativity, which actually activates the brain more, this is the stuff that is being frowned upon. So now most people stick to the logical side of the brain, stuff like engineering, mathematics, all this kind of stuff. And these are the high paid things. The weird paradox about it is, the odd thing is, that this stuff like maths, engineering, this is stuff that's not actually utilising the brain's skills. But obviously, if people are getting paid more, they're going to be more likely to go into this stuff and then therefore becoming the robots. So in a weird way, society is set up to make you into a bit of a robot. And it's so much that people just accept it as well. People are gotten so used to just being into this robotic way that they don't even try and break out of it and try and do something new. Like, people do the same job for 10, 15, 20 years and they just say, I'm comfortable and all that. Ultimately, I want to leave you with this, because I've had my little rant now. The thing that I would say to do, because ultimately what we want is to activate more of the brain to live our ultimate lifestyle, but two, when you activate more of the brain, you activate that creative part. You realise and experience life in a different way. It's hard to explain, but you do sort of notice these synchronicities, these what you call coincidences more. You do feel more love, more enjoyment for everything, and things almost start falling into place. Like, you start manifesting things, whether you believe that or not. I don't particularly care if you do or not, but these things are actually true. So you can either manifest from a conscious view by being creative, or you're going to manifest just based off autopilot, the robotic way. And if you're doing it the robotic way, this is where life comes and takes a big dump on you, essentially, because you're going to face things that you don't want, and because you're stuck in that autopilot mode, you're not going to know how to break out of it. So you want to be living life based on your own terms, which you can do through creativity. How do we do this? All right, I'm going to give you, let's go for 3 main ways. 1, you want to break out of the pattern, the robotic pattern. So this is a pattern interrupt. You can do this in meditation. You can do this through deep breathing. It doesn't really matter how you do it. The point is to get presence, but I would recommend those 2 ways in this particular video. So meditation and deep breathing. Like, even if you're doing deep breathing, just sitting there, in, out, just doing like a 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale. Even that can be as simple as breaking the pattern. Meditation is also good because it gets you into a present state. It stops you going around in that loop. So that's 1. Get present and break out of the pattern. Number 2, do things out of your comfort zone. So this is doing new things as well. This can involve, if you don't normally like to go dance, go dance. If you don't normally like to do painting, just do painting. Just start doing new things, because this activates new areas of your brain, and not only that, you get more and more comfortable when you do this. And as you activate the parts of the brain that weren't active before, you'll start noticing different things in yourself. Perhaps part of your personality changes, perhaps you start noticing you like other stuff, and maybe you attract different types of people. So number 2 is to try new things. And number 3, which is kind of linked to number 2, is to push the barriers of yourself, of your mind. So what I mean by this, it's kind of linked, like I said, going into the unknown, but actually try and consciously do difficult things. And this is good because it literally, it's like your muscles. If you go into the weight and lift heavier weights each week, your muscles get bigger. It's the same for the mind. You want that resistance, that elasticity of the mind to develop and get stronger, so that's not only are you more resistant and resilient in certain situations, but you're more adaptable. You want to adapt to different situations and be comfortable with that, rather than being scared if something changes. So, for example, if for whatever reason you have to leave your city to go for a job change, or because of family, whatever, you're fine with that. Your brain is conditioned to deal with those difficult situations. So in summary, because I realise I'm waffling again, I seem to do this a lot, I need to get more concise. To get more creative, do 3 things. Number 1, get present. Break out of the pattern through stuff like meditation, breath work. Number 2, go into the unknown and try new things that you wouldn't before, so you get used to doing different things and unlocking different areas of your brain. And number 3, start doing things that are painful or uncomfortable to train your mind to become more resilient and more elastic and adaptable. Hope that helped, guys, and look forward to speaking in the next episode.